Hello and welcome to On Point. I'm Ali Botch. Today we are discussing healthy lifestyles and cosmetic procedures. More and more people all the time are opting for non-invasive medical procedures to enhance their appearance and look younger. Even though licensed surgeons perform the procedures, the number of people opting for the black market is on the rise. The American Society of Plastic Surgeons says that in the United States alone, there were more than 1.8 million cosmetic surgeries in 2018. But more significant risks are involved when people decide to have certain procedures done by cheaper black market operators. Liposuction is a common procedure. It costs nearly $3,200 on average. Breast augmentation is another cosmetic surgical procedure, costing nearly $4,000. The most expensive procedure is a tummy tuck at about $6,000, but trying to get it cheap can mean going to the black market, where untrained and unlicensed practitioners may mishandle the procedure, leading to botched operations and sometimes permanent damage to patients. On Point, Carol Santamaria has more on the story.
Thank you, Ali. Let's please welcome today's guest, Natalie Dempsey, Medical Aesthetics Director, Dr. Amir Parvinchi of Internal Medicine and Doctor of Medical Aesthetics, and Esmeralda Rodriguez, Nurse Practitioner. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, our first big question is, what's the biggest issue facing the unregulated cosmetic industry? Doctor, let's go to you first.
One of the biggest things right now is that there's so much money to be made in the industry. It's projected 8% growth every year, and a lot of these medical spas that are popping up just want the end goal of making money. So they'll place RNs there that are not supervised for injecting people, and there's a lot of complications, whether there's surgical procedures or non-surgical procedures.
Okay, and Natalie, who can administer Botox and other fillers?
So anyone with an RN license or higher, that's about it. In other states it can vary, which is frightening, but not in California.
And what's the difference between a licensed esthetician and a board-certified PA?
Everything. So I am actually a licensed esthetician. I only went to school for 3 months for a trade. I never once learned anything about human anatomy. It was not close to anything that these wonderful people learned. And so, yeah, no esthetician should ever go near your face with a needle.
So what do you tell patients that are first-timers that are coming in for a procedure?
Let me first introduce ourselves. We have a cosmetology aesthetics practice in Santa Clarita, and also Silmar. Esmeralda is our nurse practitioner, and Natalie's our medical aesthetics director. We work very hard to first talk to the patients and to really ask them what they really want done, whether it's Botox, filler, fat burning, skin, chemical peels, or microneedling. And the biggest thing is taking their medical history, spending time with them, and allowing them to tell us what they want, and not really forcing anything on them. And it has to be a comfortable environment. And again, like we talked about, I'm a medical, a licensed medical doctor, as well as a nurse practitioner. So there's been many years of training to deal with any type of side effect or anything that goes wrong. But firstly, it's medical history and asking what the patients want.
Okay. Esmeralda, can you tell us, explain to us the difference between both legal and illegal fillers? Is there a difference?
Well, yes, there's a big difference. A lot of everything that we use in our practice is FDA regulated. We make sure we check our packaging always, because there are a lot of illegal things out there, filler, Botox, things that look like the real thing that are not, which is what a lot of people do use when they inject at their homes or certain med spas. They buy it from out of the country, get it shipped to them, and then tell the client, oh, this is Botox, and really it's something that is not FDA approved, which is very scary. And so we're always on top of, we're very close with our reps, and we go to their educational things all the time, and we know what we're using, and we make sure we know all of the products and make sure that, you know, we're always being safe and using the legal FDA approved.
May I add to that, actually? One thing that should be a red flag is Botox banks. They are a real buzzword these days. Some are real, for the Botox is actually real, but many are not. If you're getting it at a price that seems too low, it is too good to be true. A really great way to find out if your Botox is real, there's certain apps that companies like Allergan, who produce Juvederm and Botox, there's Galderma for Dysport, they will be a part of these point systems on these apps, and you can actually look up on other apps like Real Self to find out if your doctor is a part of that. If they're not, I wouldn't go to them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. If I can add to that, is that a lot of these places that charge very low amounts for the Botox, most of the times they're diluting it with saline. So usually in a bottle of Botox, we're supposed to only put 1 cc's, but some practices or some of these underground places might put 5 cc's, which usually dilutes the material to, you know, very incremental amount that would work, and they don't have to charge as much for it because they have more product. And obviously, of course, like Esmeralda says, a lot of the some products are shipped over from China illegally, so there's also that.
That's usually where the Botox banks get their product, is from China.
Yeah.
And doctor, can the body become immune to Botox?
You know, actually, so my aunt is a dermatologist. She's practicing for 30 years, doing cosmetics, injecting. She has told me that, so what Botox is a botulinum toxin. It's a neuromodulator and works on the presynaptic neuromuscular junction to inhibit acetylcholine. And like any medication, there is a built-up of tolerance to any medication you take. I'm sure if you've seen, if sometimes some patients take medications at some point in their life, they might have to increase it. Same thing with Botox, because these receptors get downregulated and you need more and more. So usually somebody that starts with 20 units in the forehead, later on, after 10, 15, 20 years, they might need 40 units. So yes, there is that possibility of immunity, if you want to call it that.
Natalie, what is your perspective of people going outside of the country to get these procedures done?
I am horrified. So unfortunately, like even in America, there's loopholes, and we're highly regulated by the FDA. For example, I know somebody that got lashes, not even Botox, and they diluted it with super glue. Like a lot of different countries don't have these regulations. They'll inject you with silicone. Like there was a model that was super famous in Brazil. She was a bikini model. She almost died because she was getting pure silicone injections in her bottom instead of what you should be getting injected, and her leg actually rotted, and she almost died. So, and actually Brazil is the plastic surgery capital of the world. They're the #1, which is, I find a little surprising, but so yeah, you gotta really pick and choose because we're under tighter scrutiny here in America.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Doctor, how many of these procedures, those Botch procedures, have you seen?
So actually, it's interesting you asked that because I work out of 2 hospitals as well, locally, Providence Holy Cross and Henry Mayo, Newhall Hospital in Santa Clarita. And we've had several cases, not necessarily the Botox and fillers, but we've had butt implants that have been infected and caused big abscesses, and we've had to have our plastic surgeons remove them. Same thing with breast implants. Usually these big surgical procedures It's very expensive, so some patients decide to do them with lower level costs, but with much greater risk to their health, because unfortunately we see the side effects afterwards, and they require the removal of the product and a long course of antibiotics. And
Can you give us an example of one that sticks out to you?
Several months ago we had a lady come in who had a big abscess in her buttocks area because she had these, a Brazilian lift, and she had the implants placed. And whether it was done in a non-sterile fashion, it caused a very big infection in her backside, which tracked down to her lower extremities, and very painful. So it took operation to remove it, plastic surgeons and IV antibiotics, several months going back and forth. So there are those cases.
So there's this Esmeralda. I'm sorry. There's this new trend of Botox salons popping up, similar to Alchemy 43, making it easy for people to go get treatments similar to getting your nails done, your hair done. What do you think about that?
I think, as even myself, when I go to a salon or to any of these places, I think it's so important to ask about certifications. Where is the doctor, the nurse practitioner, somebody to make sure that you're having a full history done, and making sure that it's a real place and they're using the products that they're supposed to be using. Because like we said, there's a lot of things out there that people are buying for or shipping from out of the country that could be very dangerous. And even if they are what they're supposed to be using, making sure that the injector is being safe, that they have the correct training, certifications, licensing, etc. So it's scary.
Mm-hmm. So, doctor, back to you. What should consumers know when they enter such a cosmetic procedure? Like after the procedure, is there warning signs they should be looking out for?
Sure, yeah. Every procedure that you do, non-invasive procedures, anything, radiofrequency, Botox fillers. First of all, like Esmeralda says, Natalie has alluded to, you have to make sure you trust the place you go to. You have to make sure they're licensed physicians, nurse practitioners, RNs, anestheticians that are doing the procedures. You have to, because a lot of times some of the training, they lack the training and they could go off the books and do something that would potentially hurt you. So that's the most important thing. And obviously having a good relationship with the office staff to be able to any day walk in afterwards. We always tell our patients to come back, make sure they call us in a week so that we could review the case with them, go over what procedure they had done to make sure it's to their liking. And if it's not, we would, do it again so that they're satisfied.
I mean, like bodily warning signs.
Bodily warning signs, so it depends on what kind of procedure you have done. With our radiofrequency machine that we use, our Vanquish machine, it burns fat. So if there's any red marks, if there's any skin irritation, then those are some signs that you have to tell your doctor about. Botox filler, if there's any allergic reaction, if your lips are swelling to the size that you're not comfortable with, you have to make sure you communicate that to the office. Yeah, sure, of course.
A lot of places are not super forthcoming with the issues associated with aftercare because you don't want to frighten your patient. So it's your face, it's your body. A lot of people don't like to talk about complications, even though you should, to some degree without totally terrifying them. For example, before I worked with them, I did get injections, by good people, they weren't even, they were totally licensed and great. It's just that I wasn't warned about certain things. For example, I had post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation on my lips. I had a Tyndall effect, which is the darkening of the skin. I even had Fortitude spots. Like, you know, you do take risks, and it's a part of it. However, I was never warned that I shouldn't go in the sun after a lip injection. We do tell people at our office. And as far as like radio frequency, you can get fat that is encapsulated, like a little nodule. We talk about it at our office too, like because that's when you need to stop treatments. And so we take great pride in that we will talk to you, obviously not try to scare you, but just to be forthcoming and open and transparent.
Is there any healthier alternatives to these cosmetic procedures?
Unfortunately for injectables, there's no organic alternative. When you start diving into Medi-Spa procedures, it's medical. You're not going to be using avocado oil to inject somebody, which is predominantly organic stuff. You can use organic things when it comes to surface level skincare, facials, peels, that's fine. But anything past that layer of skin, your top layer, you're not going to get, first of all, there's no options, but you also wouldn't get the desired effect.
Doctor, how big of a role does social media play in your practice?
It plays a huge role. And I was, you know, I might be an older doctor, I'm not sure, I'm 42, but I didn't believe in the magic of Instagram, but thanks to our aesthetics director, Natalie and Esmeralda, they've taught me that Instagram is actually a big deal because it reaches out to the local community and lets them know. We always post instructional videos for our patients to look at what we're doing, whether it's injections or microneedling, facials. We like to be able to teach our clients and our community that what we're doing so they're interested. So it plays a huge role, yeah.
Okay, so Natalie, do you post mostly? Or?
Yeah, so at first it was too many people, and we kind of had to like downsize how many people were posting because it was not congruent or pretty looking, aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, we've narrowed it down, so it's me and a couple other people behind the scenes that post, and it's not easy as it seems. So yeah.
What's the average age of the person that comes in getting a procedure done?
Ooh, honestly, I would say there is no average age. I mean, we have people as young as like 18 to old.
65.
So yeah, I mean, older than that even.
Yeah, older than that.
I worked at a plastic surgeon's office for a while, and there was people in their early 80s coming in. So just depends on the person.
The material that they're using now these days, the new fillers which use hyaluronic acid, are amazing, revolutionary type of material that's basically used as the filler material, and it's easily dissolvable, and it works great to give more plumpness to the facial areas. So I think that's why it's become much more popular as we see.
Esmeralda, what's the most common procedure that you see?
I would say Botox is our most popular thing right now.
Yeah.
All age groups. And people just want to get rid of their wrinkles, and they want to get rid of them fast. So people have tried skincare and the most expensive things out there to take care of their skin, and they come in and they say, I have a wedding in 2 weeks or next month. I need to get rid of them, and it's really all age groups.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably followed by Juvederm after that, injectables. Those are our two top sellers.
Is most of these procedures only in the LA area?
No, I mean the LA area, we have Hollywood, so it has a certain influence on our population that always wants to look pretty like all the stars that we see on TV, but it goes out countrywide and globally. I mean, I'm sure in many of the countries like Brazil, China, they want to do a lot more of these procedures because, before, it's one of these things where patients, we use them as a that's why we call it a medical aesthetics procedure, because it gives patients the confidence and it gives them what they want so that they could be happy and feel good about themselves. So it's actually popular globally.
Okay. In regards to fillers, Esmeralda, you mentioned Juvederm. What's the difference between the fillers in that instance? What goes where?
Okay, so there's a different filler for every different area of the face. And so that's, and there's also different, you know, there's Galderma that gives a certain type of filler. There's Allergan that makes the Juvederm. So a lot of our clients come in and they just say, I need Botox on my lips. And I'm like, oh no, we need to do some filler. And so there's many out there. There's some for the cheeks, some for the jawline, some for the nasolabial fold, some for the lips. So there's all kinds of things. And
it's a facial art for sure.
It really is.
So Esmeralda is a facial artist, I would say, and of course Dr. Parvinchi. And it's every person is different. If your skin is super thick, you would use a tougher filler. If your skin is really thin in viscosity, you want something soft, you know. So it's on a patient by patient basis.
Absolutely.
It's customized. Like you can't. And the old rule of thumb used to be like Botox from here up, filler from here down. Not true anymore. You can do Botox even here, called a lip flip. I didn't even know about that till last year. This industry is changing literally every second, which is why we have such a focus on continuing education. So,
Good.
yeah.
Which leads me to my question. Where do you see this industry going?
Nowhere. It's going to be going like, it's here to stay. Like it's, you know, like.
Growing.
Yeah,
basically.
it's growing so rapidly.
Growing and yeah, I mean, that's basically.
yes, I feel like it's become so popular, more popular than going to go get a facelift or any other, a chin implant or a rhinoplasty.
Right.
Yeah.
All of these things with filler, and people
Filler
are so
can do
excited about
anything.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's.
it's a non-invasive way of dealing with. Before, people used to spend a lot of money and get facelifts, which were very expensive, and so some of these procedures, non-invasively, are now kind of replacing those.
That's the new thing, is non-invasive procedures. Like, who knew that you could inject the tip of your nose and make it look like a rhinoplasty, you know? Like, and because surgery can have those complications that Dr.
Absolutely.
Parvinchi was mentioning.
Yeah.
It's a much safer alternative if you're looking, especially if you don't like the results. You're not stuck with them forever. And so if you're contemplating different ways to alter your face, your body metabolizes it. So it's not permanent.
Right. And you also reduce the risks of infection, bleeding astronomically when you compare it to the surgery, which really alters your face.
You said that these procedures are not permanent. How long do they usually last?
So rule of thumb, about 3 months. It depends on the individual. If you're working out all the time, your body's metabolizing things quicker. So people that are doing CrossFit every morning, they're gonna have less longevity to the product. And so that definitely, like, lifestyle choices play in, definitely. So around 3 months is the golden standard.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have for today. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up, and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
I'm Rudy Tempesta. I'm 92 years old. I fought in World War II. Then I came home, worked for the post office for 70 years. I've been getting Meals on Wheels, and I enjoy it. The most important thing about Meals on Wheels is you meet the people, which to me is fantastic. You need people to keep your brain moving. That's what life is about. It's love and having a conversation with people.
I just found out my work party is a +1. You want to go? This is my boss, Ella.
Nice to meet you, Greg.
You're welcome. Nope, I'm high. But I'll clean the kitchen while you're gone.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
Pool party at Jesse's. Can you drive? I'm toasted.
Nope, I'm high. But I can order us a ride.
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Thank you for watching On Point. You can follow us on social media at CSUN On Point. You can hear us on KCSN 88.5 FM on Sunday morning at 5:30. You can watch us on Santa Clarita Valley Television on Sundays at 5 and on LA 36 at 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoons. For On Point, I'm Ali Bash.